Why thinking too much makes you poor. If thinking more automatically made people rich, the most thoughtful people you know wouldn't be struggling. But look around. Some of the deepest thinkers you've met are stuck, overqualified, overanalyzing, underpaid. Meanwhile, people who seem less thoughtful, less cautious, even less prepared, are moving faster, earning more, and building momentum. That's not because thinking is bad. It's because how most people think is quietly holding them back. From a young age, we're taught to believe that more thinking leads to better outcomes. Plan more, research more, wait until you're sure, avoid mistakes. So we learn to pause before acting, then pause again and again. Over time, thinking turns into hesitation, and hesitation turns into inaction. The problem isn't intelligence, it's overthinking without movement. Thinking feels productive, it feels safe, it feels responsible, but thinking alone doesn't change your situation. Action does. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The modern world doesn't reward perfect decisions, it rewards momentum. People who act early learn faster. People who wait for certainty stay stuck. When you overthink, you delay decisions. When you delay decisions, you miss timing. And timing matters more than precision in most real-world outcomes. Opportunities don't wait for you to feel ready. They move to whoever shows up first. Another reason overthinking keeps people poor is fear disguised as logic. We tell ourselves, I need more information. I'm just being careful. I'll start when the conditions are right. But underneath that thinking is fear of failure, fear of looking foolish, fear of choosing wrong. So instead of risking a small mistake, we choose guaranteed stagnation. Over time, this creates a pattern. You think, you doubt, you delay, and nothing changes. Meanwhile, people who move with imperfect information adjust along the way. They make mistakes, they lose sometimes, but they learn faster because learning requires feedback, and feedback only comes from action. There's also a system-level problem most people don't notice. Thinking deeply inside systems you don't control rarely leads to wealth. It leads to burnout. You solve small problems, you optimize processes, you give insights, but you don't own the outcome. So your thinking makes the system better, not you. That's why many intelligent people feel frustrated. They see what's broken, they understand what could improve, but they don't have leverage. Thinking without ownership becomes mental labor with limited upside. Another trap is trying to think your way out of uncertainty. But uncertainty never disappears. You don't outthink it. You move through it. Every meaningful financial improvement involves discomfort. Starting before you're ready. Learning while doing. Making decisions without full clarity. People who escape stagnation don't think less. They think differently. They ask, what's the smallest action I can take right now? What can I test instead of analyze? What will teach me faster? They think in motion. Thinking becomes a tool, not a refuge. This doesn't mean you should act recklessly. It means you should stop waiting for perfect confidence. Confidence comes after movement, not before it. Most people are poor not because they lack ideas, but because they keep those ideas locked in their heads. They're preparing for a future moment that never arrives. So the real question isn't, have I thought this through enough? It's, have I acted enough to learn? Because thinking too much doesn't make you poor by itself. Thinking without action does. And once you understand that, thinking stops being a cage and becomes a compass. The moment thought turns into motion, everything changes. And that's the shift most people never make. They keep thinking their way forward, when progress only happens through movement. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need full certainty. You don't need to feel ready. You need feedback. You need to try, adjust, and try again. The people who move ahead aren't fearless. They're just willing to act before fear disappears. They let action shape their thinking, instead of letting thinking delay their action. So if you've been stuck for a long time, it's not because you're incapable. It's not because you're unlucky. And it's not because you haven't thought enough. It's because your thinking never left your head. The moment you turn thought into movement, you stop preparing for life and start participating in it. And that's where progress actually begins.